So we're gonna have our wrist underneath our shoulders, hips above our knees. And we're going to move with the breath. Big breath in to drop the belly, lift the head and tailbone. Exhale to round the back towards the navel. Press into the palms. Big breath in to drop the belly, lift the head and tailbone. Start cow. And on your exhale, look towards the navel, arch the back, press into the palms, big shoulder stretch, through cat. Big breath in, drop the belly. Exhale to round the back. You can create a bit of movement with the hips if you'd like. You can rock back and forth, side to side. Find what feels good for you as we connect our movement with our breath. So once you feel a little looser, we're going to do our lion's breath as we exhale for cat pose here. So we'll take a big breath in, drop the belly. On the exhale, we're going to bring the tongue out. Let it all go with the lion. Take a big breath in, drop the belly. And on the exhale, tongue out, big exhale. We're going to do it one more time, big breath in. And on the exhale, let it all go. Let's bring the spine to a neutral position. We're going to keep the hips over the knees. We're going to reach the hands forward. So you can push your bolster out of the way if needed. And we're going to have the arms out straight. Spine is long. This is our puppy pose. So the tops of the feet are on the mat. You can gently rock the hips back if that feels good. So this can be a modification for our downward facing dog if we don't want to be on our feet. It can also be a modification for our child's pose. So this is a great stretch for our lower back. We'll just take a few breaths here if it feels good. And then on the exhale, let's slowly bring the wrist underneath the shoulders again. And we're going to focus on the legs here. So let's bring the left leg straight behind us. We're going to tuck the toes. So toes are on the ground or on the mat. We're going to stretch out the hamstring by rocking forward on the inhale, rocking back on the exhale. Feel free to move on your mat if you need some more space. Making sure our wrists are underneath our shoulders before we start. And then we move with the breath. Inhale, rock forward. Exhale, rock back on the heel. Feel that big hamstring stretch. As we stretch out our legs, we're also stretching out our back as well. Everything is connected. We're pressing our palms into the mat, letting it be a support for us. Letting our core be a support for us as well. We're hugging the sides of the body into the midline. Then let's bring our left knee under our left hip. We're going to switch legs. So tuck the right toes. Right leg is straight, and we're going to breathe with the motion. Inhale, rock forward. Exhale, rock back. On your next exhale, let's bring the right knee underneath the right hip. We're going to focus on our hips. We're going to stretch out our hips, so find your range of motion. We're going to lift this left knee out to the side. So let's do it with an exhale. Find your range, doesn't have to be up too high. On the inhale, we're bringing it all the way back down. And you can relax. On the exhale, we're opening up the hips. Just gently, and then bringing it all the way back down. insert as we move the left knee over and out, opening up the hip. We're gonna do it one more time and then we'll switch sides. So come back to a neutral position. On the exhale, lift the right knee out to the side, just gently, you don't have to go too far. Focusing on gently opening and stretching right hip. Trying to keep a 90-degree angle with your legs. We'll do one more, and coming back down. And then we're going to come into our child's pose. So you can either come into our puppy pose like we did before, or you can slowly bring your knees out as wide as your mat, toes come to touch. Option to bring your bolster underneath your torso. And we're just gonna stay here for a few breaths. So find what feels good for you. Our other option is hips above knees, knees together. Fingertips reach to the top of the mat. Child's pose has so many variations. Another variation is having our knees together and then you can have your arms by your legs. It's more of a fetal position. That can be a very restorative pose. So we just kind of giving ourselves a little hug here. Let's take one more big breath in. You're doing great. And on the exhale, we're going to unravel. So slowly come back into our hands and knees with your hips over your knees, shoulders over your wrists. Let's focus on the shoulders again. We're going to bring the knees out as wide as the mat, toes come to touch. And then our left hand comes on our ribs. We'll take a big breath in to reach up towards the ceiling, opening up the chest. And on the exhale, the left hand comes in between the right hand and knee. Right hand reaches up towards the bolster. So our arms are straight. They're creating a 90-degree angle. We're looking past our left fingertips. And we feel that big stretch in our shoulders, but also our lower back. Focusing on relaxing on the exhale. Take another big breath in. And on the exhale, bring the right wrist under the shoulder, press ourselves back up into hands and knees. So we're gonna do the other side. So right hand on the ribs, big breath in to reach up towards the ceiling, opening up the chest. Right hand comes in between left hand and knee. Left hand reaches up towards the top of our mat. Take another big breath in. A long breath out. Big inhale in. And on the exhale, you can move your left wrist underneath your shoulder, press ourselves back up with the hands and knees. Let's bring our knees back underneath our hips. And then we'll slowly bring our forearms down to the mat. We're going to come onto our stomachs. So take your time, but nice and slow. So legs are straight. Your hands are underneath your shoulders. Let's just breathe and let your entire body melt into the mat. Feel free to give a little sigh. grow. So let's focus on using our lower back here. We're not trying to push into our hands. We're firmly going to press our hands into the mat. Going to take a big breath in, long breath out. Focus on the lower back. As we take another big breath in, let's lift the head. We're opening up the chest. Big breath out. Proceed here for another breath. And on your next exhale, you can slowly lower down, picking a cheek to rest on. Let's interlace the fingertips behind the back. So we're getting ready here. On our next inhale, we're gonna lift everything. So press the hands away from the shoulders. We're lifting the head, lifting the feet. Big back bend. And on the exhale, relax everything. Bring the arms down by the sides. Feel free to give a little sigh. I want to focus on the legs, but we're going to let the hands relax. So gently bend the left knee. Find your range. That might just be a 90-degree angle. If you can, without your hand, you can slowly bring your heel down to your hip. So we're focusing on what can you do with just your legs. Let your head relax. Just bending the left knee, that's all. And we're slowly going to bring the left leg back down to the mat. Take your time. Give a little sigh. And then, while we're keeping the arms relaxed, slowly bend the right knee. So take your time. And find what feels best. Maybe that's a 90-degree angle. You can try to bring the heel closer to the hip, if that feels good. And take another big breath in. And on the exhale, slowly bring the right leg back down.